Ladies, let me tell you something that most women don't understand. When you're in a relationship and you feel like you're always the one reaching, always the one texting, always the one texting, always the one asking what's going on, you're not just wearing yourself out, you're actually blurring the lines of clarity. You see, when you are constantly available, when you are always responding immediately, when you're always chasing, you're taking the wheel away from him. You're steering the relationship. And let me be honest with you, that's not where a man's real emotions show themselves. A man's heart is like a mirror. It reflects what he truly feels, but only when you step back and let it do its job. Pulling away doesn't mean being cold. It doesn't mean being manipulative. It doesn't mean playing games. It means giving yourself some space, giving him some room to breathe, and letting the natural dynamics of attraction work the way they were meant to work. When you stop being too available, when you stop trying to fix his silence or his confusion, something magical happens. You start seeing his real behavior. You start seeing who he really is. Because here's the truth, women. Men show their feelings through action far more than they do through words. And when you pull away, when you stop leaning into him, you force him to step up if he actually cares. I've seen it over and over again, and I'm telling you this from experience. A woman comes to me, she says, Steve, I don't understand. I text him. I call him, I plan things, I ask him about his day, I send him memes, I even try to flirt a little, and he just doesn't respond like I want him to. And I tell her, you're doing too much. You're doing everything except letting him show you who he is. Because here's the thing, a man doesn't fully know what he wants when you are always chasing him. You're giving him comfort without effort. You're giving him attention without him earning it. And when a man doesn't have to work for something, he doesn't always value it the way he should. Pulling away creates clarity because it gives both of you a pause, a moment of truth. You stop sending 2,000 texts a day. You stop replying instantly to every single message. You stop making all the plans. And then you watch. You watch him make the first move. You watch him try to reach you. You watch him prioritize you. You watch him show up because he wants to, not because you're constantly forcing the relationship forward. That pause, that step back, that act of giving him space reveals more about a man's heart than any conversation ever could. Now, some women get scared when they pull away. They think, oh no, if I don't chase him, he's going to lose interest. And I want you to pay attention when I tell you this. The right man will never lose interest in you if his heart is real. The man who is meant for you, the man who truly cares, will notice the absence. He will feel it and he will act. The one who doesn't act, well, that's where clarity comes in. That's where the truth about his feelings shows itself. You're not punishing him. You're not testing him. You're simply stepping back and giving the relationship a chance to reveal its natural state. Women, I need you to understand the psychology behind this. Men are wired to respond to challenge, to effort, to space. When something is too easy, it's easy to take it for granted. But when you pull away and let your presence be felt without you being there, it creates a void a man can't ignore if he cares. You're essentially giving him a mirror, and he's forced to look into it. If he loves you, he will fill that space with actions, with attention, with effort. He will show you the emotions that words alone could never express. If he doesn't, then you see it clearly, and you can make the choice to either wait for the right changes or walk away knowing you saw the truth. I remember telling a story once about a woman who was in a relationship for almost 2 years. Was always the one to initiate contact, the one to organize dates, the one to push for commitment. And yet she was frustrated because he was distant, non-communicative, and emotionally unavailable. I said to her, stop doing everything for him. Step back. Let him feel the gap that your absence creates. And she did. She didn't text first for a week. She didn't call. She stopped filling every empty moment with her attention. Within that week, the man started calling. He started asking questions. He started showing up without her prompting. And you know what that did? It revealed to her who he really was. It revealed his desire, his investment, his willingness to step into a committed role. She didn't have to guess anymore. Pulling away gave her clarity that years of chasing never could. Pulling away is also a lesson in self-respect. When you step back, you are showing yourself that your time, your energy, your love is valuable. You're teaching him without saying a word that he needs to match the energy you give. And that, ladies, is not arrogance. That is self-awareness. That is wisdom. You're no longer in the dark about your relationship. You're no longer left wondering about his feelings. You are letting the truth surface naturally, because a man who cares will not let the distance go unanswered. And let's be real, pulling away also reduces your stress. When you stop obsessing over why he's not texting, when you stop analyzing every word and action, you free your mind. Free your heart. You stop creating imaginary problems and start observing reality. You see what he truly values and what he doesn't. You see if he's capable of love and attention without pressure. You see if he's someone who can step into a real partnership. That clarity is priceless, and it comes only when you give him space to reveal himself. Remember, love is not a sprint. It's not about constant reassurance. It's not about proving yourself. It's about understanding human nature, observing behavior, and recognizing authenticity. Pulling away creates clarity because it removes the distractions of constant effort on your part and allows the relationship to show its true form. The man who is meant for you will rise to the occasion. The man who isn't, well, now you know. And knowing is better than wondering. When you start practicing this, it changes everything. You become more confident. You become less reactive. You become a woman who knows her worth and refuses to settle for less than what she deserves. Pulling away doesn't just reveal his emotions, it reveals yours too. It shows you that you can love without losing yourself. It shows you that your happiness is not dependent on someone else's behavior. And most importantly, it gives you the power to see relationships for what they truly are, either mutual or not. So ladies, don't be afraid of stepping back. Don't be afraid of letting the space reveal the truth. Pull away, watch, observe, and let life show you what you need to see. Clarity is not about forcing love. Clarity is about giving yourself the chance to see reality. And when you do, you'll never have to guess a man's feelings again. Ladies, let me break something down for you that most women never fully grasp. Men do not always communicate the way women do. Women talk, they explain, they share feelings, they write long texts, and sometimes they need verbal reassurance constantly. Men, they operate differently. Men show love, care, and commitment not always through words, but through actions. And if you've been in a relationship thinking that his silence or his lack of verbal expression means he doesn't care, you are missing the truth. Actions speak louder than words. And if you don't pay attention, you're going to be chasing a man who doesn't deserve your energy. Now, I know women love to hear, I love you, I care. I'm thinking of you. But let me tell you something, anybody can say words. Words are cheap. Actions are priceless. You want to know if a man really values you? Look at what he does, not just what he says. If he promises but never follows through, then the words are meaningless. If he talks about love but doesn't make time for you, then the words are empty. A man's real feelings are revealed in the things he chooses to do. You can't fake consistent effort, and that's the truth. A lot of women get caught up trying to decode a man's words. They read between the lines, they analyze text, they dissect phone calls. They end up confused and stressed. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need to do all that if you just start looking at his actions. If he wants to see you, he will make the time. If he wants to communicate, he will pick up the phone. If he cares about your feelings, he will act in ways that show respect, kindness, and attention. Men show love through what they do consistently, not through what they promise sporadically. Let me give you an example. A woman comes to me and says, Steve, he tells me he loves me, but he never asks about my day, never remembers the little things, never plans anything, and I feel like I'm doing all the work. And I look at her and I say, sweetheart, don't get fooled by words. Actions reveal the real man. Words are just noise if they're not backed up by effort. Love is a verb. It's something you see every single day in choices and behaviors. If he's truly invested, you will see it. If he's not, you'll feel it. And that feeling is far more accurate than anything he could say. Actions are also consistent over time. You see, a man might say all the right things in the heat of the moment, but what he does over weeks, months, and years tells the real story. If he continuously shows up, if he continues to put in effort, if he continues to prioritize you, that's love. If he doesn't, no amount of romantic words will make up for that lack of action. Women often settle for verbal affection without demanding consistent demonstration of love. That's why so many women feel like they're giving everything and getting nothing back. You can't survive on words alone. You need action to validate them. I want you to imagine this. You've been dating a man for months and he says, I love you, I care about you, but he never cancels plans to be with you. He never remembers important events. He never supports you when you need him. And then you meet another man who doesn't say, I love you in every text, but he's always there. He shows up when you need him. He remembers details about your life. He makes you feel like you matter through his behavior. Who do you trust? Actions always outweigh words. Words can be used to manipulate. Actions cannot. Actions are the truest reflection of the heart. And this is where women need to start paying attention. Stop asking for explanations. Stop demanding verbal affirmations constantly. Instead, observe how he treats you, how he treats others, and how he prioritizes his time. A man's behavior in the ordinary moments, the unglamorous everyday situations is what shows his real feelings. How he acts when he's tired, busy, stressed, or distracted, those are the moments that reveal character. If he continues to act with love, patience, and effort, that is the man worth keeping. If he doesn't, no amount of sweet talk will make him consistent. Let me tell you something else about actions. They're non-negotiable. You can't argue someone into action. You can't force a man to demonstrate love through behavior. He either shows it or he doesn't. That's why patience and observation are key. When you stop focusing on what he says and start paying attention to what he does, you gain power. You stop being manipulated by empty promises. You stop chasing illusions. You start seeing reality. And in that clarity, you find freedom to make the right choices for your heart. A lot of women don't realize how empowering this is. When you focus on actions rather than words, you take the guesswork out of love. You see exactly who is genuinely invested and who is not. You stop wasting emotional energy on a man who talks but doesn't act. You start appreciating the men who actually show up, and that changes everything in your relationships. You start demanding consistency, accountability, and effort, and that's exactly what you deserve. Actions speak louder than words, and this applies to every area of life, not just romance. If he truly loves you, it will be visible. If he truly respects you, he'll be visible. If he truly values you, it will be visible. Words alone can never replace the proof that comes from effort, time, and attention. And women, don't underestimate your ability to recognize this. Your intuition, combined with careful observation of his behavior, will never lie to you. So next time you find yourself doubting a man because of something he said, don't panic. Stop and watch what he does. Stop overanalyzing text. Stop overthinking conversations. Stop asking for proof in words. The proof is in the action. Show yourself respect by paying attention to the reality of behavior. Look at the patterns, look at the consistency, and you will know the truth about his heart. A man's real emotions are revealed through what he does, not just what he says. And remember, ladies, this also protects your heart. When you learn to read actions instead of chasing words, you avoid heartbreak, disappointment, and confusion. You know who is invested, who is consistent, and who is capable of love. Words can mislead, but actions cannot. Actions are honesty in motion. A man's actions will either lift you, cherish you, and support you, or they will show you that he's not the one. And seeing this early saves you years of pain. Stop settling for verbal promises. Demand actions. Observe behavior. Pay attention to the little things, the gestures, the choices, the efforts. That's where the truth lives. A man who truly cares will make it clear through his actions every day, just on special occasions or when he feels like it. And when you learn this, you will finally stop chasing men who don't deserve you, and you will finally be able to recognize the ones who do. Actions speak louder than words. Our ways and understanding that is the key to real love. Ladies, let me tell you something that changes the entire way men look at you, and most women overlook it completely. The power of self-respect. When a woman truly respects herself, when she knows her value, when she carries herself like she understands what she deserves, something incredible happens. People treat her differently. Men look at her differently. The entire dynamic of the relationship shifts. And the reason is simple. Self-respect is magnetic. It pulls the right energy toward you and pushes the wrong energy away. Now listen carefully, because this is important. A man watches what you tolerate more than he listens to what you say. You can tell a man all day long that you deserve respect, that you want commitment, that you expect honesty. But if your actions don't show that you believe those things about yourself, he's not going to believe it either. Men read behavior. They observe what you allow, what you excuse, and what you walk away from. And the moment you start demonstrating self-respect through your behavior, a man begins to understand exactly where you stand. You see, a woman who lacks self-respect often tries to earn love by giving more and more. She texts first every time. She cancels her plans to be available. She tolerates disrespect because she's afraid of losing the relationship. She keeps explaining herself, trying to convince the man to care the way she cares. But the truth is, love doesn't work like that. The more you chase validation, the less valuable your presence begins to feel. That's not because you're not worthy. It's because you're not treating yourself like someone who is worthy. Self-respect changes the entire equation. When you respect yourself, don't beg for attention. You don't chase someone who is clearly unsure about you. You don't keep giving your time and energy to someone who treats you like an option. Instead, you step back. You protect your peace. You maintain your standards. And when you do that, something powerful happens inside a man's mind. He starts realizing that your presence is not guaranteed. He starts understanding that being with you requires effort. That realization alone makes him see you in a completely different light. Let me explain something about men. Men naturally value what requires effort. It's not that they enjoy difficulty, but they appreciate things they have to work for. Think about anything valuable in life, a career, a home, success, respect. All of those things require effort. When a woman respects herself enough to set boundaries and protect her time, she becomes someone a man must rise to meet. He understands that if he wants to be part of her life, he must bring something meaningful to the table. Now I know some women worry when they hear this. They think self-respect means being cold, distant, or overly strict. That's not what it means at all. Self-respect is calm confidence. It's knowing that you are worthy of love, attention, and consistency without needing to prove it. It's being kind and open, but also being strong enough to walk away when someone doesn't treat you properly. That balance is incredibly attractive because it shows emotional strength. A woman with self-respect doesn't panic when a man pulls away. She doesn't immediately assume she did something wrong. Instead, she continues living her life. She keeps focusing on her goals, her happiness, her friendships, and her growth. And that independence creates a powerful energy. A man starts wondering about her. He starts realizing she has a full life that doesn't revolve around him. That realization makes him curious, and curiosity often turns into pursuit. Self-respect also protects your emotional health. When you know your value, you stop tolerating confusion and inconsistency. You stop accepting half-hearted effort. Instead of asking yourself why someone isn't treating you right, you simply recognize that they are not aligned with the standards you have for your life. That awareness saves you from months or even years of emotional frustration. Men notice this more than you think. A woman who carries herself with self-respect communicates strength without saying a word. She doesn't need to demand attention because her presence already commands it. She doesn't need to argue for commitment because her standards make it clear that commitment is required to stay in her life. That silent confidence is incredibly powerful because it shows a man that being with her is a privilege, not something he can take for granted. And let me tell you another truth. Self-respect doesn't just attract men, it attracts the right men. When you have strong standards, the men who only want something temporary, effortless will eventually drift away. But the men who are serious, the ones who are ready for real partnership, will step forward. They will appreciate your strength. They will admire your boundaries. They will respect the fact that you value yourself enough not to settle for less than you deserve. This is why pulling away sometimes works so powerfully in relationships. When you stop overgiving and start focusing on your own life, you demonstrate self-respect. You show that your happiness doesn't depend entirely on someone else's attention. That independence shifts the balance of the relationship. A man who truly cares will feel that shift and respond to it. He will start showing more effort, more communication, and more interest because he recognizes your value. Self-respect also helps you see things clearly. When you're not desperate for approval, you can observe someone's behavior without emotional panic. You notice patterns. You recognize whether someone is genuinely investing in the relationship or simply enjoying the benefits without commitment. That clarity allows you to make wiser decisions about who deserves your time and who doesn't. And here's something every woman needs to remember. The way you treat yourself teaches people how to treat you. If you constantly sacrifice your peace to keep someone around, they will assume that's acceptable. But if you maintain boundaries and prioritize your well-being, people learn quickly that your time and energy are valuable. Self-respect is not about ego or arrogance. It's about understanding that your heart is precious, your time is limited, your love is meaningful. And those things should never be given to someone who doesn't recognize their value. When you truly believe that, you stop chasing affection and start attracting it naturally. A woman who respects herself doesn't need to compete with anyone for attention. She doesn't need to beg for loyalty. She simply lives her life with confidence, authenticity, and that energy, that quiet strength becomes magnetic. The right man will see it, feel it, and move toward it because real confidence is one of the most powerful forces in attraction. Ladies, one of the hardest things for people to do in relationships is simply wait and watch. We live in a world where everyone wants answers immediately. If a man doesn't text back right away, the mind starts racing. If he acts a little distant, doubts begin to grow. If he doesn't say exactly what you want to hear, you start questioning the entire relationship. But the truth about human emotions, especially a man's emotions, is that they reveal themselves over time. You cannot rush the truth. You cannot force it to appear faster. Time has a way of exposing everything. You see, in the early stages of any relationship, people often present the best version of themselves. They say the right things. They behave in ways that create a good impression. That's natural. Everyone wants to be liked. But the real character of a person, the real depth of their feeling, doesn't appear in a single moment or a single conversation. It shows up gradually through patterns of behavior that develop over weeks and months. That's why patience is such an important part of understanding someone's true intentions. A lot of women get hurt because they try to rush clarity. They want immediate reassurance, immediate commitment, immediate emotional transparency. And when they don't get those things right away, they start forcing conversations, demanding explanations, and pushing the relationship faster than it naturally wants to go. But when you push too hard, you sometimes create confusion instead of clarity. A man might say what he thinks you want to hear just to calm the situation, not necessarily because it reflects his true feelings. Time removes that mask. Over time, a person's real priorities begin to show. The effort becomes consistent or it fades away. The communication becomes deeper or it becomes less frequent. The interest becomes stronger or it slowly disappears. These changes are not accidents. They are signals. They are the truth revealing itself through the natural progression of the relationship. One of the greatest mistakes people make is ignoring those signals because they are emotionally invested in what they hope the relationship will become. Hope can sometimes make you blind to reality. You might see small red flags but dismiss them because you want the connection to work. You might notice inconsistency but convince yourself that things will improve. And sometimes they do improve, but sometimes they don't. That's why observation over time is so powerful. It gives you a clear picture of whether someone's behavior aligns with their words. A man can say he cares about you, but over time you will see if he truly makes you a priority. A man can promise commitment, but over